Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Welcome. I want to welcome all of our listeners here to the Healing Generations podcast, sponsored and hosted by the National Comadres Network. And this is Deborah Luis Camarillo, proud daughter of Esteban Leos Camarillo and Anita Figueroa, coming to you from a lonely lands, from here up in the Bay Area, and so grateful to Creator for another day of breath in life. We are so excited to be here again this month, and so blessed that you choose to join us and listen and come and commune with us through the airs, right? For a conversation, another plática that we have amongst us women. And of course, you know, we're making history today because this will never, ever be repeated. And the other part is that I know that there's going to be something that you hear today that you need to hear. That's going to bring you a little bit more healing on your journey of life. And so thank you. Thank you for joining us and for being here with us. And I'm very excited today with our guest. But before we go there, I just want to greet you, comadre. Maestra Susie, how you doing today? And how is it down south?
Buenos dias, maestra. I'm doing very well. A lot to be grateful for. The kids are good. The grandkids are good. It's a beautiful day outside. And I just have nothing to complain about. Just feeling so grateful for my health, for my family's health, and just sending out a lot of prayers this morning for all those that need that extra peace, that extra peace of mind, actually.
Yeah.
There's so much that we carry as mujeres, always trying to support everyone that comes in our path in any way that we can. So I know it's bigger than me, so I always like to invoke Creator and ancestors to please step in, please help us to know our path and our place, and all those that you put in our path to provide that support to all those that are in need.
Well, you know, comadre, this is, we're about to come to the summer solstice. You know, it's this time, summer's coming, and there's been a lot of activity that I just want to acknowledge. So, you know, I always share that I'm co-Mexican, right? That I've got that Mexican Comanche side and my Boricua, that Puerto Rican side. And the month of June is one of the biggest parades. It's the Puerto Rican National Parade Festival, and it's a time of celebration, that island culture, and celebrating the heritage, and and so I just want to acknowledge that because I know there's many celebrations going on, and also it's Pride Month, and this is the month. This is LGBTQ Two-Spirit Month. And so acknowledging that, right? Because here at the National Compadres Network and the National Comadres, we celebrate and honor all people and all walks of life. And so I just wanted to, put that out there for those of you that are celebrating out there too. We just want to acknowledge you and send blessings your way, bendiciones, for everyone and their families. And it's kind of a segue too, because on today's podcast, we have one of these up-and-coming next generation leaders. I say up-and-coming, right? Yes. But I think they're already up, and they're already here and not coming.
Absolutely.
And I'm, so proud to be able to share the journey with her. And it's a blessing for me to been invited to walk with her in her life. And so for me, it's a very special podcast to have her here. And also you'll hear that Boricua pride probably coming through her conversations as we go on today. But with no further ado, comadre, you want to share with our listeners who we have today?
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, mija. just feeling so honored and with all that you do, that you would take time to sit with us and be so willing to share your medicina, your historia, your experiences, your wisdom, with all of us. I have so much hope. I've been so honored to be able to sit in Círculo with you many times, Healing Generations, and just hear all these beautiful consejos that come out of you just so organically. It gives me a lot of hope for the next generation. You are the next generation. And like Maestra said, you are here. You have arrived. Her name is Solymar Solá Negrón. She is a California-born Boricua community worker committed to bridging access to liberation and power through community-based healing and proper education. Solymar has worked along several Black, Afro, and Brown Indigenous collectives throughout the Americas using popular education to activate cross-border solidarity efforts within their communities. She's very dedicated and continues to be dedicated to her work towards nurturing youth, helping them with their healing, transformation, and power through their voice, their rhythm, their cultura, and their spirit. Her passion lies in working with those impacted by incarceration, addiction, poverty, and ongoing effects of colonization and capitalism. Always staying true to the belief that each person brings their own medicine into their own healing. She is currently a director of outpatient and gender-specific programs at Horizons Unlimited in San Francisco, an organization that focuses on providing youth of color access to mental health and substance abuse treatments and services. Solymar feels that her greatest strengths are that she is the proud daughter of Luz Maria Negrón Bermo and Francisco Javier Solá, and carries her ancestors' strength, their pains, and their dreams with much honor and pride. So happy to have you here with us, Mija. Just wonder if maybe you can share a little bit about yourself with us, your family, your background, and those that you're connected to at this time, and maybe a little bit about your journey and what you do in your work today.
Okay, well, first, I'm just so humbled. I'm so humbled. I feel speechless and I have lots of words. My heart's racing. At first, I was nervous and anxious. And then I hear you talking about me, something I wrote, right? And I'm still nervous and anxious. And then I hear you say, I'm the proud daughter, and you reminded me what I'm connected to. And then I get emotional, right? The wave comes in my body. And today I know that to be a message, of just a reminder to trust, that my ancestors, man, they rose so deep and they are tethered with so many of my loved ones and people I don't even know yet, but they're in a party, and they're always ready for me, when I call on them. And so anxiety, fear, we don't have nothing bad. My anxiety and fear allowed me to call on them and to feel that embrace without any of them physically being here. And that's where I come from. That's where I come from. My name is Solymar. People call me Soli, Sol, Nina, Chukis, and a lot of other crazy things. But my name means the sun in the ocean. That's also where I come from. My people are from the island of Puerto Rico. And I was the first person to be born here in the United States. And my mom named me after our country, our land. So I grew up in Southern California. I was telling Deb the other day that my master's thesis, because I'm so, dramatic, poetic, and historical. I was describing myself. I don't know if people know that Puerto Rico has a little frog named a coqui, and it's known to only. Everybody want to claim that it could live in other places like Hawaii. Now, Deb, we could talk about that later too, because I know. But I'm just saying, the myth is that if it cannot leave Puerto Rico, that if it leaves, it'll choke. It cannot breathe other air. And so I remember writing about that, about growing up, in the hot San Bernardino air, as a coqui, my whole youth, even though I was surrounded by blessings, all the time, really. I was choking. I couldn't breathe, you know. I wasn't home. Or I didn't feel like I was at home. So I grew up in Southern California, you know, always away. When you're not home, you're always not there, you know. My mom, my sister, and my sister, two sons who are my nephews, and my dad. We're the family that lived here in the United States. The rest of our family still lives in Puerto Rico. I was the first person to go to college in my family. And what's important? Where do I come from? I mean, that's what I come from. My mom is a badass. She don't play. She's a medicine woman. Everywhere you go, you respect every person, place, or thing. I don't care what it is. She told me the medicine we have, you don't tell nobody because they'll try to kill you for it. That's what she always says. But, you know, now she gets to be in spaces with me now where we can practice the medicine and participate, you know, and as people that are in the diaspora, like, or displaced people, you know, we don't have my native traditions to what is native to me isn't here, you know, but my life and my world is here, right? So, and that's on purpose, right? Because the people I'm around have different medicines for me, and there can't be too many Puerto Ricans in a certain vicinity, because sometimes it causes earthquakes. I think that's enough. I don't know what else to say. Please take the mic.
You know, that's a blessing, you know, comadre, the young spirit, right? That
Right.
energy, that life, you know, and I think that that's what excites me the most is that we have a generation that's full of life that's coming right in back of us to continue, you know, the blessings and the teachings there for these next generations to come. But yeah, I would like for you to share, right? Because you alluded to different things on your journey. But as a young person, you have done so many things. And I want you to share some of those adventures, right? Where, you know, that path has taken you, because it's taken you out of this country. Trying to advocate in the things that you have seen, the injustices, and part of the reason why you're so passionate, you know, of different populations. And I'm going to ask you to share some of those things. And the intention behind that is because you're a young person. And sometimes our youth think that they can't do things until they get older. But that's not the truth. The truth is, wherever we're at, we can do things to promote healing or to share our teachings. And so would you share some of those, you know, some of those adventures that and some of the work that you have done abroad?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's what the system does to us. That's what the lack of healing does, is it doesn't allow us to remember that we are dreaming, thinking individuals, that if we're alive and present enough and connected, we actually get called to connect in different ways with people. But when we're shut down or we're in a sleeping state, we cannot do that so naturally, right? The first thing that comes to my mind is going to Mexico City with I think it was the queer women of color contingency from Watsonville, California. We represented, I don't think it's the Central Valley or like the Central Coast, but this group of women had for years gone to the first and only autonomous, it's called the Lesbo Feminista Marcha in Latin America. Okay. This march is significant historically because one, it's the first to be known. It's the largest. It takes place in Mexico City. So people come from all over Latin America. And there's a very clear political focus on the autonomy, on anti-colonialism. There's, you know, people in this community are interested and invested in not just taking space and strengthening resonando voice and power, but really this piece around history and education of ourselves. The people that put that march on, they're basically a magazine publisher called Lesbos out of Mexico City. And they were also the first lesbo feminista or lesbian autonomous like periódico or magazine in Latin America. Okay. So very significant, very radical in their time and just historically, right? And so my first time getting to go to anywhere that wasn't Puerto Rico, because we always go to Puerto Rico to go see our family. And we would go on rotation because you can't send everybody at once because it's too much money because we're far away. You know, I got to go to Mexico with it. I had this opportunity to travel and go with this group of just powerful women that, again, were very connected to, knew that the work that we did here demanded that it be connected to the work of our people in other places, right? That because we're here, it doesn't automatically mean that we have all of the privileges in the ways or access in the ways that maybe others may perceive because we're from the States, but we do have access. You know, we have different strategies, just like everybody else has different strategies, right? We got some stuff over here that we're supposed to be using, right? And so that was one of the teachings. And so long story short, I mean, you can imagine all of Mexico City. Oh, and let me tell you, the year that I went it was like the 20th or something Latin American Feminist Conference of Latin America, like just this big. And so then you already know. So there's the regular conference and then there's the radical, like we don't mess with them. They're not our right politics. Like we're doing our own alternative. I mean, to be in that place of just life and possibility at a time when I think I for sure had to be like 19 or 20. You know, I didn't see queer people, queer women, right, of color living life. You know, maybe I knew everybody, you know, had somebody, but like living life, you know, very on purpose, you know, was so beautiful and powerful for me. And since I've always had like just because how my mother trained me, affinity for the prison system doesn't work. Basically, we don't believe in these systems here that we're a part of. So since you know, and it's taken a lot of people. So it's poison. So since I was little, that's been always, right? But when I got to, I had the opportunity basically to go help support the starting of the first program for lesbian inmates at Santa Marta, Catitla, in La Ciudad de Mexico through a internship that I had with Lesbos, the magazine paper. Okay. So I'm 19 years old. We're Jíbaro de Puerto Rico. The farthest I went from Riverside was LA. And that was like, you know, once every 10 years because it was so far and hot. And you know, we didn't have air in our car. Okay. And then up here comes Solymar and it's like, oh, not only am I going to college 8 hours away, okay, drama, I'm also at like, you know, a year and a half going in. Hey, by the way, I'm queer. Hey, by the way, we're about to shut this shit down. Hey, by the way, I'm moving to Mexico. Hey, by the way. So you can imagine, pobrecita mi mami. But I'm telling you, her prayers saved my life over and over. So I think that experience working in the jails in Mexico City with the women, working with the magazine, working in collaboration, right? Working across class struggles, right? Being a working class out here and dealing with people of upper class and then like different classes in the organizing movements out and seeing those things play within like that movement or our movement. I wouldn't say that's my movement now, but I would definitely claim that I'm a feminist for sure. But anyways, you know, the lesson that I want to share from that whole like story, one was that moment in time for me was the first time that I was like, wait, who said I was supposed to stay here? My mom went from Puerto Rico. You can't walk. Okay. And it's not New York or Florida. It's all the way over here. She didn't even know English. Okay. Nothing. She didn't have education. Pero ella se montó on the plane to here for something new. I don't have kids, so I have to have kids to find something new and explore. No. So like, you know, just like, why not? Why not? And also realizing that those barriers are something that are imposed for us to not see ourselves. Just like the borders, it's for us to not see ourselves so that we don't have that. Anyways, the first day I got there, I'm like, what are we going to do? We got to get the program started, the curriculum and this. And, you know, because I'm so ready to, you know, shut the shit down and whatever, right? I'm 19, sitting with these like two OGs from that movement who like gave their palabra to take me on. And they're like, primero vamos a comer, después hablamos del trabajo. That was the first time, because let me tell you, where I come from is like, you're doing 20 things at a time, y estamos resolviendo, okay? Mexico City taught me, okay? You eat first, right? And then we do the work. And what I learned now, or how I understand that teaching now, what they're saying is, we don't know you yet. Let's sit with you and see how you do. How you treat the person that's serving you. How are you treating us? Are you going to wait for us to eat first? Who are we dealing with? And how do we assess that? You want to make it an assessment? Vamos a comer. Let's break some bread. And so that, I mean, that's still, and that's what I know, right? Somebody walks in the house, you give them something to eat. Why? So they know it's safe, we're good, let's calm, and then we can work, right? Now we have apps that bling bling and tell us to take a 5-minute meditation. But we already been doing that.
Absolutely.
It was called La Bendición cuando llegas a la casa, So that's one of the stories. And this is like, maybe in a few years I'll give you other stories. These ones are going to be like the
I have no
cute
doubt.
stories.
No doubt. Thank you, mija. Sir. I love your passion. So
Sin
passionate.
escándalo.
Wake it up. Oh, mija. You're talking about Mexico. And of course, as you know, I've been a danzante for many years. And I know that was the beginning of my healing journey. And I know personally how powerful that is, how that got me unstuck, how that got me back in my body, how that connected me even deeper to all of the elements, to the earth, to the air, to the water, to the sun. Made me really realize how interconnected we all are, that sacredness of everything, to the animals, to the ocean, to the plants, to all those things that help us maintain our existence. To me, I always feel that in the work that we do, it's so important that we do not lose sight of the healing power of voice, of rhythm, of music, of spoken word, and of course, of dance. So important if we're talking about healing.
Yes.
Get out of our minds, get into your body, connect with spirit, let your spirit rise, let your spirit come out, and that all of us as mujeres, how important that is for us to make sure that we are always finding time and making time to create. We are creators. Yes. We're creators of life. When that is blocked, we're going to be blocked. We need to really focus on that. I'm wondering how you have been able, working with these beautiful youth, how have you been able to incorporate? What are some of your lessons, your activities? How do you provide those spaces for our youth to use their voice to connect with musica, with rhythm, to allow them to have their spoken word and just space to dance, to let their spirit rise and come out and learn about a new part of themselves that we're not always in a space to be able to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Everything you said. It just makes me think about the ocean, and that's like, I'm always seeking alignment, and I thought it was a line, but what I'm seeking is rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
The way you were talking about it, right? That movement, that constant movement of just like a story, So as a community worker, I think how I integrate that. Well, you said something about the beginning of my healing journey,
Yes.
Right? That this being a danzante, right?
Yes.
And the movement and all of that. It took me to, when did my healing journey start? Because I think that, when I was born was that's when it really started, right? Because I was really blessed. I grew up in ceremony. I grew up in traditions. I grew up knowing what my people look like, their names, their songs, I grew up like that. And I'm so blessed that I grew up knowing, my people and who I am. But that wasn't actually, I had to get that then so I could use it later. But really, my healing really began when I stopped, when I became abstinent from using drugs and alcohol completely. And I really submitted myself to, I didn't submit myself. I was submitted by all of the spirits of the entire 25 universes to get my, to get in my rhythm, right? Because I was dying inside, So how do I bring that rhythm? For me, it's the in between. As a clinician, as a therapist, as someone that holds the story, right? I can't look for, I'm thinking of a song now. I can't look for like the, what's it called? Like the chorus. I want to hear that timbal in the back. I want to hear, that's my job, right? I have to hear every single piece because I'm helping, especially with people with trauma and survived tremendous, layers and layers of violence, oppression, and trauma physically, mentally, just spiritually at so many levels, all of us, systemically and socially. So to make that connection with things where it's not good or bad, right? But that in between, I think that's very much my style, or like something that is, I find very fertilizing, right? For me, I'm 0 to 100 when I'm not well, right? When I'm not in balance, I'm how the system works, right? And that's how our young people that are suffering with addiction or trying to survive systems, that's literally how it is, right? It's like, what do I got to do today? Not just to pay the bills, but to stay alive, make an investment into the future. And also my baby needs some Pampers and my baby mama's on my phone walling. Okay. And she has a reason to. What does that mean? The in between for somebody that's holding all of that, right? It means just that, right? That we hold it, that we're able to see it all. I don't have to hold it all, but when you're with me, I want us to see it all, right? And I want you to feel safe that we can see it together, right? And we could close it at the end of that session and we'll come back to it. And it's a safe space here for the nuance, right? Because if it's too cut clean, I know that's not from my people. I'm going to tell you that right now. If it fits into this box, then it means you're depressed. That's not from my people, right? Like the way things show up for us is like that, right? It's in nature, in our relationships, and in all of those facets. So I can't, as a clinician or as a mental health person or as a counselor, seek to just see like, oh, you're using a lot of, you're smoking a lot of weed and you can't get a job because you can't get a clean pee test, right? Okay. One, we got to work on the smoking of the weed, right? But also in that approach, I need to be able to hold that whole picture, right? Like, what is this person holding? What are they holding that they don't trust nobody to hold? They don't trust me to hold it. So they're just going to give me a little bit. Right. I always believe that. They're just going to give you a little bit. And so, este ritmo que yo tengo, it's constant. You know what I'm saying? It's constant. You come here, you have your time, you go do your thing, and you come back, it's safe. I'm not the police, right? I'm not trying to restrain or limit or even, and this one has been a hard lesson for me to continue to learn, or even accept that your healing and your journey will and may often not look like what I want it to, and that's another lesson in humility. But the point of what I'm saying is how do we integrate this rhythm, this comfort, this warmth, and also it's constant, right? So that also means my responses are constant, right? The lines. The young men I work with know how to respect me when they're with me because I hold the line of how to have a strong, intimate, respectful relationship with a mujer that loves and cares about you, but is not your family and is not, a significant other. We in our current dynamic, we don't know how to relate with each other and how to even use somebody that is a story holder or a story protector. That's what I think about them. Like we protect stories. But anyways, a lo que voy is, it's like this. I can't make no judgment of nothing. And I also can't be scared of nothing. And that's what that water kind of rhythm wave energy reminds me of Like, a big old hola can come or a little one can come. Regardless, it's all going to even out and it's going to clean out. I cannot react big or small because that's what our system does to the youth. They're in crisis, big thing with treatment right now. You need this, you need that, whatever. We haven't even gotten to hear the young person. And I know the young people we work with and their families, there's so much mistrust with the systems and so much poison also just in ourselves and in our own communities that it takes time for you to build that trust. So it's so important that as a professional, I be consistent in modeling certain values like respect. Like when you come into the office for the first time, I'm going to take you and you're going to meet everybody here. So next time you come in, it don't matter if they do it or not, but it is my expectation that you're going to be willing to greet everybody and look at them in the eyes, right? Even though I know no one has ever looked at you in the eyes when you walk places because they don't see you. You're going to come in here and that's how we're doing this first time, right? And I'm always going to ask you if you ate, right? So that consistent safety building so that eventually, they can really let out whatever it is and know you're not a monster. I'm not scared of that. I can hold this with you,
Beautiful. It's all like Maestro Jerry always says, starting with that, providing that safe space and conocimiento, allowing them maybe for the first time to acknowledge who they are. And it's so important for those of us that are on this journey and trying to find who we really are, to have someone willing to listen, to let us express our voice and speak so that we can even hear ourselves for the first time. Things come out always when someone is holding that space for us, things always come out that you're like, oh, that's the first time I just realized that. The power of someone to listen is so important. And it's obvious that's what you do. You allow them to say whatever they want to say, uncensored, and knowing that you're still going to accept all of who they are, the cargas and the regalos, and you're still going to show up for them, and you're still going to be there whenever they need you. It's so powerful. Priceless gift. God bless you for that, mija. God bless you.
Yes. Solymar, I want to go back to the part of the coqui. I'm going to come back here.
Dale.
So I'm sure there was a time when the coqui was just on the island.
Yeah.
But now, that little coqui has traveled.
¿Y a dónde se fue?
And I know, because I have been with them, that they're on the island of Hawaii. Now, I want you to just think about that, though. Because in a sense, right, we are people from the many different lands from where we come from, right? And we come from, many different, a myriad of traditions and enseñanzas. And I think sometimes there's a necessity for a lot of different reasons that we have to leave that homeland and go to different places. The reality is that little coqui, that little frog, does live in Hawaii.
I see.
And is flourishing.
That's right.
Flourishing in the nights. I know my family comes from the Big Island of Hawaii. In the nights, you can hear the song all night long, loud. And I want to ask you, just like that little cookie, what are those teachings and traditions that culturally connect you to your people, right? The people del Caribe. Ese orgullo caribeño, right? What are some of those teachings that you can share with us that has sustained you to the different places that you have been?
That's such a beautiful question. I know my mom would feel so, so proud to hear that. Well, I mean, anything that comes from me is Puerto Rican. okay? Just because it came from me, right? But I think in terms of some specific teachings, what comes up for me are the dichos. There's certain, ways that my mother would teach us certain stories or certain use of food, hierbas, and different things like that, that have a story from, Puerto Rico. And that's how we're taught to like cook something, not just like, oh, you le mete, a puño de ajo or something. It's like, well, with my mom, I'm not going to claim everybody's Puerto Rican mom, but with my mom, it's like, no, the reason why we have this, right, is because it came from over here or during a certain time in history. And I think for us, people in the diaspora, people that have been displaced, el rescate, the remembering, the constant remembrance of these stories and these teachings, is so essential to our survival because we're not on our land and we're okay with that. There's more Puerto Ricans outside of Puerto Rico que hay in Puerto Rico, right? And it's been like that for a long time, right? However, you go anywhere, you meet a Puerto Rican, they're loud and prideful, right? And a lot of that is our drums, right? Is our music, is the heartbeat that we carry with us that, with our culture, we have use the drums to, organize, communicate news, communicate and organize around our liberation, which is a forever struggle, right? We also, did that with creative things like el tejido, right? La cocina. My mom, I was telling Deb the other day, my mom and everybody in my family has graduated from this, okay? She would put all like empty jars and the beans, and it'd be like 15 beans. And my mom would make us know what each bean name was, what it's used for. And I was like, I don't know if she thought that was fun, but that's just what everybody did, right? She had to teach us those things, right? She had to teach us about Yemaya. She had to, I think my voicemail is currently all the way full with her songs. All of her songs that she sings to me, they're all from her childhood or that somebody gave them to her,
Beautiful.
and she'll just call me and leave the message and like sing, and they're all there. That's what my voice message is for. So I think for people that have had to survive in movement and among water, our rhythm, our voice, our memory, and you'll hear that a lot, like with my abuelita when they sing, she may not say the whole story anymore, but when she sings a song, you already can feel it. That was from a certain time, right? So I think for us, really big teachings have been around, song, stories, cooking. A lot of stuff in the cooking, it tells so much about who we are as a people. Our African influence, our Spanish influence, our indigenous influence. Like Puerto Rico has such a collective spirit in that way, where it's now, especially, we know these histories, And so, I think we hold on to that the most. And then there's things that I haven't learned yet, that my mom has told me about, that her bisabuela, her tatarabuela, used to teach her to do. I don't know a lot of those things. Yeah, I don't know. I feel, what I'm feeling right now? I'm feeling strange because I've never talked about what healing teachings and traditions come from Puerto Rico. I've never talked about that before, really, So again, being like, I grew up in California. I always thought I was supposed to be in New York or Puerto Rico, not California, So it's important, because I don't want to compare it to other cultures that have more popular, like people know more of those like traditions or whatever. I don't want to cheapen ours either, So that's what I'm feeling right now. But I'm really honored that you asked me that question, and I would like to speak to my mom about it and really hear what she would like to say.
Well, I think two of probably the most healing ones are the drums, as you mentioned it, and the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I know traditionally we play those drums at the water.
And we have water drums too.
Yeah, we have water drums like other Other cultures have water drums. But thank you.
So beautiful, mija. And I know it. I've had the opportunity to travel and meet many Puerto Rican dancers, and it's just been so beautiful to see that relationship between the dancer and the drummer.
Yes.
I mean, the drummer is just following every passionate step that she is creating and swirling that beautiful skirt around. It's just it's so much medicine, on so many
Yes.
different levels that you don't even know how to articulate. You just have to experience that, and I've been very fortunate to have been able to do that. It's obvious from what you just shared. Your DNA is overflowing with medicina on so many levels, be it the comida, be it the land, be it through the traditions, through your mama's medicina on your voicemail, all those beautiful songs, that priceless. I would put that on something else to save it. Make sure
I
you
know.
don't
I don't
lose
want
all of that.
to.
It's so priceless. You're so powerful. You're so passionate, filled with so much vitality and inspiration. And it seems to be a theme, Maestra, if you notice with this elder generation, they just have this passion up and coming, and they have such wide vision of possibilities and different ways to approach things. I'm just wondering, Mija, because I know the work that you do is very heavy. You're holding space for a lot of wounded people that have been suffering for a long time, be it their own pain or intergenerational pain that they carry. And I know day after day, personally, when we're holding space for them, it can be very draining sometimes. Sometimes we absorb their pain. Sometimes, we want to fix it. We want to find those solutions so that we can help these people. We've been there ourselves a lot of times. And so, in La Quech, we see them in us. We see ourselves in them. And I'm just wondering if you could share for others that do this work. What are some of the things that you do that help you reground yourself and realign and connect with your natural rhythm to maintain your balance in the work that you do? What are some of those things that you could share with all of us? I know some days are easier than others. Sometimes it's like my sister always says, just get to the shower. Just get to the shower. And start your prayers. And of course, it's always primero Dios with me. But I'd like to know, what are some of those things that you do to help you remember your sacredness and who Solymar really is? It's easy to get caught up in the mind, but really the healing has to take place in the heart, in the soul.
Well, what I was first going to say is, I don't know, but when you find out, let me know so I can do it. Because let me tell you something. That's something that helps me every day, is remembering yo no sé nada in the most beautiful, humble way. That is actually a practice that has really helped me a lot. So for me, what helps me connect with my own rhythm, as I mentioned earlier, the way I currently live my life is, it doesn't feel like this, what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it because it's how it is. It's pretty like militant, actually, about my spiritual practices every day. I'm try to, not in a professional way, but like in a personal way, like be of service to another person that's an addict or somebody that's in recovery, not through work. So specifically not through work. That's how my spiritual grounding can come, because as someone that is constantly working on maintaining their recovery, it's so important that I am in constant assessment. Now that sounds very clinical and dramatic, but what that can look like is, some people may pray at night to their God and say, God, I'm sorry that I was rude to this lady at the bank. Please let me know, in my dreams tonight, how I can be better tomorrow for you. Right. That's a kind of way of assessing like yourself of how you did. Right. But for me, it's not just the assessment, but it's the action. So, what happened in the day? what could I have done better? And for me, like, it's very weird for me to hear you guys tell me that, like, oh, I have a lot of blessings. Like, I'm just here. You know what I'm saying? I don't like, I'm still not there yet where I can, you know, so for me, it is important to see like, okay, what thing did I accomplish today? You know, even if it was just that I stayed sober. I know every day if I'm sober, I helped another person in recovery, because I know that there's other young Solymars out there that don't know that there's another way to live. And so if I just even think about her in that moment, then I'm putting myself back in the circle in my place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too big. I'm not too small. I'm right sized in my circle, in my place, right? And with that healing every day, you know, comes new lessons and tests and everything. So daily meditation and prayer is the goal every day, and having fun with it, you know, like, man, the birds and the flowers right now are just spectacular. Like, just people are tired of me talking about the birds. They open their mouths and they're jumping around for no reason. That's their job. They don't even know that they sound and look so beautiful. They're just doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, those beautiful delicacies, you know? Like, right here, right? And because of the way I try to live every day, I can feel it today. I can see it, you know? I'm not like, you know, cussing the lawnmowers out because they're so loud when I'm trying to talk to y'all. I'm like, oh, like, pause. You know what I'm saying? So to me, maintaining my rhythm is making sure I'm not stale. My music is loud all the time. I'm dancing and I'm singing. And so I've accepted those parts of me, the loud parts. So I have to also give myself the other parts, you know, which is the calm, the being with creator, and the ceremony piece
Mm-hmm.
is important for me and is very individual, because I don't have the same community or like collective experience around my practices here. And so it has costed me a little bit to maintain that rhythm. But I feel very hopeful that if I continue every day what I'm doing and really trying to, you know, be in my little spot in the circle, that will come too, you know?
Thank you, Mija.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, it's been such a wonderful time to spend time with you on this podcast. And the time always goes by so fast, so fast. It's unbelievable. But before we end, I want you to speak to those that are listening, and especially to this next generation. And what consejos would you give them? Because these are your contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to give some consejos to them. And then would you also give some words to the elders?
Yeah, in thinking about this, okay, so to my contemporaries, my peers, I have 3 consejos. One is, and you could use whatever works for you, okay? It could be pray / be quiet or still.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. This is just one. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Especially when you don't want to, especially when you cannot, do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1. Number 2, well, I ask for it in prayer, but we have to rebuild our systems of knowledge and wisdom and support and learning and growth. So we have to rebuild our families and our community systems. So something that was important for me to do was to pray for guidance, pray for elders, pray for, at other times in my life, like praying for the people that I need to think about instead of thinking about the problem. Mm-hmm. Who am I investing in? Mm-hmm. Right? But so reimagining, what is this community mean to you? What does love and family and support mean to you? Just dream it and write it down. Like, I was like, none of my abuelitas or my tias are here. And guess what? My whole life, Creator keeps sending me abuelitas and tias postizas. You know, don't worry, we got you. And when I'm in doubt, I know to ask for that, you know? So again, repairing that circle, having everybody there. And then the third thing is to remember. If you don't, if you don't know where you're from or your culture, like I'm not from here, but I'm born and raised California, but I'm not from here. It's not my culture, but then it is, right? So when you put your hands in the earth or you put your hands in a thing you're about to cook, right? Or your hands in the dirt in the ocean, right? Your body will remember. Your body will remember whatever you need to do to remember what, if it means getting clean and sober, so you can remember, your song, your stories. If remembering for you means listening to an abuelita and writing their stories down, right? So that you don't forget, right? But that repair needs to happen where we continue to have a practice of remembrance and honor, because esa es la liga. We cannot exist without it. And so we have to relate to it. And all three of those things to me hopefully result in us being walking with humility. And I think that is very important. It is so important if you're just period. But as a community worker, we must walk in humility. So that's what I would say to my peers. And to the elders, I will say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your prayers. I know that so many elders have been praying for us for so long. And I do know that to be true. And so I'm just grateful that y'all haven't forgot to pray, And I'm also grateful for those that have stayed. I think that those that stay present, with, their circle or their world around them, whether or not they feel like they're leaders or they're saying important things or wise things or however they want to judge themselves, I really value that they're here, that you all are here, because I know for so many of us, if you get to become an elder, I know you have really survived, learned, loved, like your life is so rich, so rich. And so, yeah, like stay present with us. Like we need you. Even if we like fight you or we act like we don't want it, like who cares? No, doesn't matter. You know the truth. We need you guys, so just stay with us and thank you for your prayers.
Thank you, Solymar.
Thank you, mija.
And I just want to, to speak to those that are listening right now. As you're out there, you might be in a place that is not your home. And you might have struggles because you're far from home. Mm-hmm. But I want to let you know today that don't allow that to bring you down. You have so much to give. There is so much spirit in you and resistance and strength that will carry you through, and you will find others that will support you the way that you need to do. And I think this was evident in Solymar's share today. And so I just want to encourage you, because I know it can feel overwhelming at times. But, having those conversations with that is greater than you will help pull you through those times of loneliness. And the other part, again, if you're struggling with any kind of substance abuse, know that there's hope. Yeah. There is hope. And it doesn't matter how long your addiction has been there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is always hope if you're willing to receive it. So thank you, Solymar, for those words and all of this medicina that has flowed from you today. Mm-hmm. Of course, I know you have helped others. And like I said, there was those words that came out today that you needed to hear out there, wherever you're at, because this podcast goes around the world. So we thank you. We thank you for joining us today, for being here, supporting us. If you need more information, we're on the National Compadres Network. Look for the National Comadres. Like us, join us, whatever, TikTok us or whatever they have to do out there. But we're here to support you and just be a resource for you. And so Again, comadre, another beautiful plática.
Always, siempre, siempre. And just so grateful to you, Solymar. I just pray for you. I'm so excited for you and what Creator has in store for you next. I just ask you to continue to carry your ancestors' medicine, understand and heal for them, for their pain, continue to make their dreams come true through you and continue to walk with honor and pride.
Gracias.
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 And thank you, mija. Te quiero mucho. And it's I've learned so much from you, and it's a blessing to continue to walk with you. And so with that, we're going to say thank you. Thank you for being with us today. Again, this is hosted by the National Comadres Network. Until next time, bendiciones.
Bendiciones.
Bendiciones. Gracias.
Adelante. Keep dancing.
Yes.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.